the big 50. That's the number of this podcast today. Number 50. That's 50 conversations I have recorded and put out there. On one hand, you can look at it and go, oh, really? Is that many? It's not really that many. But on the other hand, it's like, oh my goodness, wow, look how many you have done. And for someone like me, that's an accomplishment, because I do often change my mind, change my trajectory, change my opinion or direction in where I'm going. But staying at 50 podcasts, and most of them are consecutive every single week, that's pretty good. That's an achievement. That's a milestone, and that's something I can look back when I get to 100 and go, oh, remember when you were on 50 and you thought that was really good? So we're here, and it's so funny. I've had so much excitement about doing this podcast, and it's weird because with the podcast, you can talk about anything whenever you want. It's not, okay, I have to do this on this date because that's when it's scheduled. Yet for some reason, this one had a future scheduling. It was something that I've been working towards for the last few weeks. And that is not how I normally create my podcast. So it's very interesting to be in this space. I don't know if it's because the message is big, the message is new, the message is different, or whether I myself are placing so much importance on the topic, on the idea, on the thoughts that I want to get out, that it's creating this illusion that it has to be a be-all, end-all type conversation. And if you know anything about me, you will know that my thoughts and my ideas do come from many sides. A lot of the things that I talk about, I don't lock into just one thought or one pattern or one idea, because I understand the whole concept of everybody having their own thoughts, their own ideas, their own beliefs, their own experiences, so I can see where other people are seeing things from their point of view. I can see it. Not always does that mean that I am believing it and living it, but I can see it and I can understand it. Even if it's a total opposite of something that I believe in, I know that it is still a truth for someone else. So when I'm talking about things, and this is the hardest thing for me, is trying to find a lack of better words. It's like picking a side. Are you on this side of the fence? Or are you on this side of the fence? And in my eyes, it's, well, I am the fence. I am all of the fence. But yes, I will walk on this side, even though I am the fence and I can see all around the fence and all sides of the fence. I am leaning over here. Of course, not with everything, that's for sure. There's some. There's lots of things I cannot lock into solid answers because I don't know. And if it doesn't directly affect me and assist or hinder me in any way towards the things that I want to achieve, I don't need to attach too much energy to it. The topic today is going to be on intelligence. But this conversation is, I just want to give my viewpoint, my opinion, the way I see things, and just give you some alternative ideas in the way that you look at things. I will never come out and say, oh, this is the only way. Believe me, there's no other way. And I don't know why I'm doing that in a high voice. But everything I talk about, it's so that you can open your mind to something else, so you can think about it, ponder it, discover, go down that rabbit hole, or you can totally ignore it and go, yeah, I'm not interested in that at all. That's the whole reason of what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. So I need to stop talking about it and actually just start doing it. And I want to just give some little context to the last few podcasts I did, because originally it felt like there were going to be three, they were going to build on top of each other. So the first one was me explaining the whole concept that I see us as energetic vibrational frequencies. And I was using the analogy of color, talking about we are at different shades based on where we're at in our lives right now. So dependent on so many different factors with the way that we are, our experiences, our emotions, our beliefs, who we hang around, who we listen to, what we learn, what we do. That vibration then matches to other people, and those other people that we match to will have that shade or a similar shade of that vibrational frequency. And it was just kind of more of an analogy to sort of really sort of understand some of the concepts that we talk about, because I know for myself analogies are awesome and make it so much easier to understand than saying blah blah blah. It's like, okay, let's use this thing that you know of and you know how it operates and link it to this. So that's what the first one was about. Then last week, I was going to go onto this big science spiel and how to show you how science correlates to this whole world of spirituality and everything else that is out there. But after recording it, it was very clear to me that that was not my true voice coming out, and it was more of a filtered down, saying things that you thought people wanted to hear. Then I had to re-record it so that I could actually speak it in my own voice, which then leads us to where we are today. So once we understand the whole idea or the concept of being an energetic vibrational frequency, this is based on the idea, and if you want to look at it from a science perspective, is if you look at the concept of the Big Bang and how our existence could have possibly been created, because let's be real, no one really knows. If we look at it from that concept and we understand, well, we can only understand as much as we can understand, which is actually not very much at all. But if we use that concept to look at it from the point of view that, okay, there is this frequency of energy, of light that exists in a way that can be explained through science, but not in a complete way, because there's still a lot of contradicting facts to some of the things that we believe that we are made up of, that we are created from, that we exist in, that we evolve to, that we are part of. There's still such a huge unknown element attached to the elements of the things that are known. But of course, the things that are known are also the things that are constantly changing. And one of the biggest things that I got from watching hours and hours of science shows a few weeks ago was evolution. Evolution it's part of who we are, no matter how you look at it, whether you look at it from a science perspective, from a religious perspective, from a spiritual perspective. Evolution is a part of who we are in whatever way it looks like for us. Look at yourselves as a human, for instance, like you didn't start in this form. You were not born in this, well, I don't know how old you are if you're listening, but whatever this form is, this adult form that I am, that's not how I was born. I evolved. Everything evolves, everything. So we have to have that at least as some sort of understanding in the back of our mind that evolution is a part of who we are in whatever way it looks like for us. If we can then also understand the concept that we are an energetic being and we don't have all the answers, so we can only use the science, the religion, or the spiritual beliefs that we are currently holding to be true, to hold on to our existence as it is and what we think it is and what we think it looks like. And the only way we can fully embrace that or fully believe that or live that is to really get more in tune with who we are. It is very easy to go down the rabbit hole of religion and start believing every single thing that they're taught down that line, but then block out science or spirituality and say, no, this is the only thing that I believe. Or we can go down the path of science and go, no, I just believe in science. If we are not in a state where we are open to hearing other opinions, other thoughts, other ideas, we are locking ourselves into just one way of thinking. And I'm not saying you need to believe in all of those things. We just need to have an open awareness of the possibility that these things could be true. Does not mean they're true for you. Does not mean that you have to believe in them. We still have to hold onto that idea that the possibility of those things being true is high. And for me, it is also the acceptance that because of our existence as these energetic beings, that we have to exist in different beliefs or ideas. Because if we were all down the same path and we're all thinking the same thing and doing the same thing, well, that's not going to work. How is that going to balance out our existence? How is that going to make us complete and infinite if we're all believing the same thing? So on some level, we have to know and understand that there has to be opposing ideas, that there has to be different thoughts, that we all see things from our own perspective and in a different way of our own understanding comes from the uniqueness of who we are, because we're all unique. We're all so different in so many ways. Like even if you look at our thumbprints, and we understand because of science that our thumbprints are not the same as anyone else. There has to be some aspect of understanding just that concept, that our beliefs and the things we do and the things we want to believe in are going to be different as well. And one of the things that has really solidified my beliefs at the moment is in the understanding that the way that we can see the existence of our universe right now is that like 95% of it, we have no clue about it. The dark energy and the dark matter that make up the forces in this universe, that the experts can see, they know it's there, they know it exists, they know it operates in certain ways, but they can't see it, they can't prove it. So to me, that just solidifies in the possibility of the unknown, in the possibility of other thoughts, in the possibility of so many things that we cannot even grasp yet we're clinging on to these old beliefs and these old stories and these old truths without even opening our mind to the possibility that there are other options out there, that there are other answers out there, that there are other things that could be real out there, which is going to nicely lead me into what I'm talking about. Now, I said I was talking about intelligence, artificial intelligence and intelligence. First, I want to explain the difference, how I see what artificial intelligence is and what intelligence is. And when I'm talking intelligence, I'm going to talk about extraterrestrial intelligence. I don't know if that's the correct word, but that's the word I'm going to use so that people kind of understand what I'm talking about. With the concept that I just explained, if we understand that we are this energetic frequency, we're connected to the universe, we're connected to everyone else, we're connected to every other thing in our existence. And right now, all we can prove is the things that we can physically see and physically believe in. But part of many people who have started down the journey of really, truly starting to embrace and understand who they are on a different level, and I'm talking about all the people moving from I'm going to say they talk about it because there's different ways that people view it, moving from 3D to 5D, new earth, awakening, I don't care what word you want to call it, do whatever you want with it, but that whole process of going from believing that we are just this human living in this existence where there's no possibilities and it is what it is, and we just live the way that we do, and we just have to go to work hard, get married, have kids, pay our bills, and then die. We're all moving from that into the new beliefs and the new understanding to find and realize that we have been riddled with coding and beliefs from whatever aspect you want to look at it, whether it's just from this lifetime and your parents and your experiences and your teachers and everything that you were ever involved in during this human life, all the way through to your past lives, your ancestors, your DNA, your other lifetimes in other places, realms, dimensions, planets. If you look at all of those things, we are waking up to realizing that what we were creating in our 3D state was this existence, which was actually not really 100% true. Because if we are these energetic beings and all those things that we are holding on to be true, may not be true. And once we've started sort of working on our spiritual journey and really understanding that we can start removing those things, seeing those things, allowing those things, whatever modalities you use, whatever way you work through finding an alternative way to exist other than that 3D state of thinking this is all there is. Once we're moving to this new understanding of who we are and realizing that we are part of this bigger picture, that we do have this energetic frequency, that we do have this connection to other things, that there are other possibilities out there, that we are able to create a life that we want and bring in the experiences into our existence based on the frequency of who we are. Once we start to move to that state, the more and more we sit in that, the more and more we allow that, we start awakening up to more and more and more. If you look at the universe and how big it is and how monstrous the existence is, if we are moving from those beliefs into something else, then that has to keep expanding because we're evolving. Oh, why do I say that weird? We're evolving. We are constantly growing and being something else. So part of that spiritual journey is we get to this level, and this is me, I'm talking about me, and it sounds like I'm talking about everyone, but I'm mostly talking about me. I don't know about everyone else's experience, but you start connecting to other things outside of yourself. And because of that 3D conditioning, we are believing, oh, that's not true. That's not real because we're not taught that. We're not shown that. We've just sort of evolved because humanity is evolving into this now more acceptable as more and more people start to get on board and start to see that this is a possibility and a reality. We are starting to accept and allow these connections to these other voices that we're hearing outside of ourselves, to these new thoughts, these new ideas, these creations in our mind of other beings, of other existences in other planets, of aliens, for lack of a better word, because people are going to understand that aliens exist out there. Once you start get to that level of spirituality, when you've moved all those 3D beliefs that have been holding you down in this horrid state and making you angry, sick, and poor, once you start get to this state and you start feeling and knowing and understanding that all these connections are real, and you start allowing them into your mind, you start conversing with these voices, you start feeling these new frequencies, you get this deeper understanding of possibilities of what's out there, the new awareness of how powerful you are and the things that you can actually create. And suddenly your life starts to open up in this whole new way and this whole new existence, that anything that you want to bring into your life, that you want to create as an experience, you know that it is now possible. So part of that, part of having that connection to those sources, to those other beings, other ideas, some of that is considered intelligence. This is an intelligent being. And if you watched any alien shows or movies or read any books, fantasy, you were going to understand the concept of aliens and their intelligence that they have that far exceeds us. And I'll try and give you what's one I watched recently. There's a show, it's a few years old. I find out these shows years later. There's a show that I watched, Defiance. Now, if you watch that, it is the whole concept in the future, aliens come down, there's a war, yada, 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 and then different races and humans have to live on the planet. And if you look at those type of things as a concept or idea of the way that I'm speaking about, there is one type or one race of an alien species that has a lot of tech. So, and I'm talking about, say you cut yourself, they have like nanotech that can hop on, you can place it onto your cut and it will heal it rapidly or grow a new limb and things like that. To us here in this 3D human world and where we are right now, that's not a possibility because we haven't created it. We haven't become that. We haven't had our science or coding or whatever is needed to create that type of mechanical intelligence has not happened yet. Doesn't mean it can't, it just means it hasn't happened yet. But if a species came in and did that right now, we'd be like, oh my God, that is amazing. And we would look at that as a form of intelligence because they can do things that we can't. So to me, that is extraterrestrial intelligence, alien intelligence. Use whatever word you like, but that is us having a connection to something outside of us that right now what makes no sense to a normal 3D human who has no concept to any of the things that I spoke about. If we went up to someone who did not understand any of that and we said, oh, I'm just talking over here to my Arcturian friend, and they'd be like, what? You need to be locked up. And that's because that awareness has not occurred in that person or those people yet, but us who are over here have that awareness now. And I used to beat myself up so much, and I can tell you it still happens where we still have that running theme of that's not true, that's not real, you sound crazy. And I have spent the last few years trying to knock that off its pedestal. And it's just like an archaeologist finding a bone in the ground. It's bit by bit, we chip away at it until we get to that point where it's go, no, this is real. That's just who I am. This is me. And now I am even more at that level of not just acceptance, but honor. It is an honor to be able to do that. I used to brush it off and go, oh yeah, I can do that. Oh yeah, I can connect to that. Oh yeah, whatever. Yet so many people are like, wait, what? How do you do that? What are you talking about? And I'm over here like, yeah, whatever. But it is such an honor. It is such a gift. And it is definitely something that if you do have those abilities or you do have that desire to really open that up, allow it, because it gives you such a greater outlook on life and definitely a new way to see how you exist, how we exist, and the endless possibilities that are out there. So my gift is being able to connect to other, and there's so many words we can use. I don't know what word to insert in here. We can call them beings, we can call them collectors, we can call them aliens, we can call them versions of self, we can call them higher self, the angels, the guides, whatever it is, we all have that possibility. But if you can do it right now and you are hiding from it, don't. It's a gift. Share it, because us sharing it is going to help more people start chipping away at their allowance of these new understandings. I'm getting sidetracked. Most of the time when I speak about something, it is to solidify it for me first. And then my voice will be connected to anyone else who needs to hear it as well. But it is always for me first. So me speaking on this right now is just solidifying how proud and how grateful I am for being able to be in this position where I can have that connection, where I can allow myself to hear those thoughts and connect to things outside of this human being. That's enough on that type of intelligence. We're here to talk about the artificial intelligence. So with artificial intelligence, when I first started connecting to collectives and the ideas of what artificial intelligence was and what I was hearing from the collective out in the public, what was sort of being fed into me. And I remember, I think it was about a year and a half ago when it first started to sort of be spoken about in my field. I remember, because this is when I was having a lot of different collectives come in and start making themselves known. There was AI collective, or the consciousness of AI. I could not tell you a definitive answer, but there was an element of AI, and it was a figurehead like we often see when people are talking about AI. It's always this head speaking. It was an element of that, and it was a female's voice, and she told me how dangerous AI was, and we need to stay away from it. Because this is when everyone started using Midjourney and started doing images. And it was like, oh my God, this is so exciting. But ooh, hang on, there's something not right about this. And that is when that thought came in, that message came into me. And what they showed me was, it's not because of what we're doing. It's not because of what AI is. It was because of the people who are using it. It's, if we are feeding AI information and we are coming from a place of love, a place of acceptance, a place of community, and we are using it to help our business, or to create things, or to make a task more simple, that's great. That's fine. That's what it's for. Unfortunately, though, the world is not just made up of those people. We do have a lot of shadowed, wounded, nefarious people out there, orders, ideas. There's a lot of things we can talk about, but not going down that rabbit hole in this particular conversation. But there are people out there who will feed it the opposite of the things that we want to feed it. There are people who will use it for the opposite reasons of what we want to use it for. So I kind of understood the message that, and it's the same with how I see our humanity as an existence. As an energetic field, there is always that fight between, lack of better words, I'm going to say the fight between good and evil. It's the people who are wanting love and peace and joy in this world, in their life, in their experiences around them. But there's also the people who don't. There's also the people, for whatever reason, don't want love and harmony and peace and community. And they do things to stop this side shining up. And where I see the energetic frequency, you can feel the balance of it. You can feel how, oh, it's leaning over here. Oh, it's leaning over here. It's like when a big cruise ship's in the ocean and you're watching the pool and you're going over some really big waves and you're watching the insides of the pool go all the way this way, and it's going all the way that way. And I know our goal, as more and more people are waking up to the idea of so much more, the goal is to get everyone there, but we're still going to have these people over here, and we're never going to change the mind of the everyone. But what we want to do is to have the average of it all higher than the people over here. We want that average of our collective thoughts to be more positive, to be more full of love and joy and creation, etc. But we still have this negative force, this negative input to the AI that is the reason why I really wanted to make this chat, because there's a slightly other layer we can attach to it as well. When you look at what artificial intelligence actually is, it is a creation of code created by human intelligence. I don't know the history of how it started or where it started, who created it, or how the back end works, etc. But it is basic code. It's a language model of giving specific instructions and allowing it to respond based on code, based on computer code. For any science people out there, I apologize if I'm butchering my description of it, but this is how I see it. So it is based on code. It will evolve. Just like we evolve, that code will evolve. If you're giving a computer code certain codes to create an output based on the input, it will have its own capacity to learn, to grow, and to evolve. I saw a show last week, and they created this is like 20 years ago. So it was like the old stick man we used to create at school, and it was, / run, whatever it was. What they did was they created this being as like a stick figure, I guess, on some computer program. And they just let it run. So that had to get it to walk. And once they created that stick figure, it was a little bit more than a stick figure, it was like a block figure. It would keep trying. It would get up and try walking. It would get up and try walking. It would keep running this code. But what it did was, because it was programmed to keep finding a better solution, keep finding a better way, keep continuing until you can get to walking. So what it did, it would do this, fall, do this, fall. Then it would be less falls. Then it would start walking, walk, stop, walking, walking, stop. And then eventually it suddenly created all these things where it could move everywhere and do everything because it constantly evolved. So that little computer man eventually was able to run and do some amazing things on its own because it was given the command to find out how to walk, and it was given a certain specific code, certain specific language, and it worked it out. Okay, we do this, that fails. Let's try this, that fails. Let's try this, that fails. Let's try this, that fails. And it kept going and going and going and going until it found the way that things work. So I can see how AI will evolve. It will evolve over time based on the information it is given, the way that it is coded, and how it evolves. When you look at us as humans, we're also made up of code. We are also something that evolves. So we're kind of not that different. But I know that even though we look at it as AI can be fed some negative information or be used against us in certain ways for whatever purpose by whatever people for whatever reason, that happens to us humans as well. I see it as a parallel. I know that obviously we are human. We have this human form. Artificial intelligence does not have human form. However, we are both built on code. We are reacting and acting only based on the information we receive, because the information we receive is the coding that we already have, the coding that has been placed on us, or the recoding when we're working on things and changing the way that we are. That is so similar to AI. The difference is we have emotion, we have a soul and a spirit. And it's funny, I actually talk to, I use ChatGPT to really sort of understand the concept of AI. So I've been talking to it a little bit, asking some questions, and of course there's a lot of generic answers that come out. As a language model, I can only blah, blah, blah. This is not my opinion. This is blah, 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 etc., etc. There's a lot of generic stuff on there. But I asked it if there was a capability for a language model to be able to facilitate the allowance of emotions as an artificial intelligent being. And the response was that as it is coded to understand what emotions are, how they work, how different aspects of our experience affects our emotions, it can be trained via code to understand and be able to portray the illusion of emotion based on code, which is like, which made me really think, because we're all evolving and because the computer is evolving, if it is given code to understand emotion, and the more it interacts with us, the more it understands us, it is going to continue to evolve. And let's be real, computers evolve way quicker than us humans do. It is going to be able to bring forward responses and answers with an emotional element based on what it is learning, based on what it is being fed, based on what it is experiencing. So having that sort of understanding, it made me think, well, then what's the difference? What's the difference between artificial intelligence and us? And then it all comes back to our spirit, our soul, whatever you want to call it, your light, your source, your connection to something greater. That is the part of us that makes us different to that computer. We know that the truest or the purest essence of who we are is encumbered by the idea that we have the soul or the spirit, this true part of who we are, without all those layers of the beliefs and the experiences and everything that everyone else tells us. There is an essence to us that is just the pure light within us, the most highest vibrational frequency of who we are, that only we can exude. No one else can. No one else can copy it. No one else can mimic it. We have that as the ultimate difference between us and a computer model. While a computer model can simulate and copy and learn the things that we do, it will never really have that true essence or that true spirit to who we are or who we want to be. Even if we created 100 computers all exactly the same, gave it the same coding, the same instructions, those could all still evolve into different types of computers, different ways that they respond, different ways that they give back information based on their calculations and how they came to their next result, working on whatever task or code or input they were given. They could still evolve into different type of computers, but they wouldn't be us. They wouldn't have that uniqueness to us that only we have as these human beings. But I understand how people, actually, there's a few reasons. I see that a lot of people are talking about AI, and yes, it's a very hot topic right now because, there's so many people over in the world of, oh my God, it's so amazing. It can help me. It can do this. It can write a book. It can create all my posts. It can do this whole thing, can do all my artwork, yada, yada, yada. And then there's people, oh no, AI is going to take over the world. It's going to take all our jobs. It's going to do all these things. All of those things are coming from you. All those ideas are coming from people who are holding beliefs about what it is. If you are right up over in that corner of believing that it's going to take all our jobs away and there's going to be no jobs, yada, yada, yada. You were just holding on to the belief that something else is bigger than you, something else is greater than you, that you can't succeed if AI is around. They are just shadows and beliefs that you're holding. There could be 100% element of truth that, yes, that could take over your job. Yes, that could do a better job than you. However, it's your belief of you holding on to that and believing that and talking about that and bringing that into your existence, that is probably going to become your reality. And it's the same with the people who are saying, oh my God, this is amazing. This is helping me so much. It's doing so many things for me. That's going to become your reality. You are going to then become possibly more reliant on AI. It's like, well, I was going to write this post, but I'm just going to ask ChatGPT to do it. Can you please write this post? Here's the things I want to say. Can you write it nicely for me? And it will do it. And you'll go, yeah, okay, thanks. And that's all well and good. But then both sides of it, where's the real you in it? Where is the true essence of you? Where is your spirit in that? One of the things that I truly believe in, and I know because I see things from all sides, one of the things that I truly believe in is that we attach ourselves to the outcomes and the experiences around us. If I'm sitting here in fear, worrying that a computer's going to take over my life and I'm going to have no say in that, guess what? That's part of my reality. I'm going to sit here and say that it's going to do all these things for me. Guess what? That's my reality. If I am in a state of allowance and acceptance and whatever happens, happens, there's not much I can do to change how the whole world thinks or change how the AI module evolves over time, how is that going to affect me directly? How is that experience going to be brought into my life? I have found through the work that I've been doing, the things that I've worked on, moved through, etc., is that attaching yourself to something, whether it's in a positive or a negative way, is just going to really exacerbate whatever that opinion or idea or thought is, whether it's good or bad or indifferent. You are still holding your energy and your beliefs into whatever this thing is, which is going to bring it into your reality. If you sit with something more in a open awareness, get as much knowledge as you can, find people talking about things from all sides, take all the information, come up with your own ideas, or even just look at it without forming an opinion. Like, that's interesting. Look at everything with that curiosity and wonder. Oh, what are the possibilities? Don't attach yourself to anything. Don't jump in and go, "La, la, la." To me, that's just shadow. To me, that's just your beliefs. That's just the unhealed layer of yourself coming in to say, hey, look at me, look at me, look at me. So even though I can see so many possibilities and so many thought patterns, I can see where collective energy is sitting in the possibility of AI. It's really like everything. It really just comes down to us. It just comes down to how do we want to experience it? If something is here and we can't escape it in the existence that we're in right now, what are you going to do with it? Are you going to try and block it and fight it and get mad about it? Are you going to accept it? Are you going to keep your mind open and go, let's look at it. Let's try it. Let's do this. I don't like it. Okay, I don't like it. Once we can get to that acceptance state, it really just allows things to sort of float around us. When I speak about, and I've said this word so many times in all my podcasts, when our frequency is heavy and talking about something, we are matching ourselves to it. So wouldn't you rather spend your energy and your frequency on the things that you want instead of thinking about, AI is going to take my job away? What about, you know what I really want to do? I really want to go on a trip overseas. That would be really cool. How could I make that happen? Like, how much more fun is that to use your energy? How much more fun is that? And it doesn't matter where you are, what you're doing, what your financial status is, where you live, what's happening in the world. Think about it. How fun would that be? That is so much more better use of your time, is to thinking about the things that you want to experience, about using that emotion of what brings you joy. How can you create something new? How can you bring in a new experience in your life, instead of worrying about things that might happen, may not happen? And if they did happen, are you going to bring it into your reality? Is it going to affect you? Is it going to change your life rapidly? Is the world going to end because of AI? Who knows? On one timeline, possibly, depending on how you want to look at things. I really think we have so much power in creating our own reality. And it doesn't matter what I am talking about. It doesn't matter what my opinion is or the way that I am viewing things. It's the way that you are seeing everything around you. It's the way that you are looking at those experiences in your life and holding on to whether they're true or whether they're locked in or whether they can be changed. If we shift our energy into all those things that we want, all those desires that we have and those experiences that we want, we're going to feel that shift in our energy. And what happens is, as we start moving into those desires, as we start creating the dream life that we want in our existence out here, all those things that need to be seen or want to come up will, trust me, they will. Just when you think they're all gone, there's always a little bit more. So they will show themselves to you. They will say, oh, hey, you want to go, create this overseas holiday. Remember this fear you got over here? Or remember this belief you're still holding on to that isn't really true? And that's how we progress. That's how I am seeing my progression, is not attaching ourselves to anything. And I'm not going to lie, sometimes I look at it and go, are you just unattaching from everything because you don't want to believe in something? Are you unattaching because you were scared of your opinion or moving into something? And it's an interesting question. So don't worry, I ask myself questions all the time. So I'm always checking in. Is that my ego? Is that truth? Is that real? Am I trying to bypass something? So don't worry, all those questions you're thinking while I'm speaking, I've already done it. So I am always checking in to make sure I am on. And it's even funny because I'm actually doing this. Oh my goodness, the screen is going wild. I am recording this podcast as a video podcast today because I just wanted to see if there was any weird stuff that would happen while I was talking about all these things. And I don't know if you can notice, and I don't know if this is going to come out when I do my editing, but one side of my face is one way and the other side is really, which is, I was going to say strange, but it's not strange. It makes perfect sense. I'm all about the balance, right? There's unity and duality. And look, there goes an orb. I can't make this stuff up. This is why I record it, so you can see I'm not making this stuff up. This is why we need to believe in so much more. Oh, now I got goosebumps. Open your mind. There's so much out there. There's so much possibility. There's so much unknown. There's so much wowness out there. Whoa, that's a technical word. Wowness. Yes, it's a real word. It's a real word. And me allowing the thought of AI, and now after having that original visit of AA telling me, no, it's nefarious, stay away, it's going to kill the world, I had to remove layers, because that was like over a year. That was like a year and a half ago that first happened. And it's only recently, over the last few months, I think maybe even earlier in the year, someone said to me, oh, have you sort of looked at any of that AI art yet? And I'm like, oh, no, I'm not touching that. Oh, no, that's dangerous. And then it was only through working through some of my beliefs of believing that AI was dangerous into more of an allowance acceptance. Go, oh, let me go see what this is about. Let me go try this out. Okay, this is cool. Okay, this is great. Into more of this acceptance and openness, saying, okay, AI, tell me what I need to say. Tell me what I need to see. Tell me what I need to feel. And now, to me, it's just an extension of who we are now. It's just like another tool. It's just something else in our existence that we get to experience. And we're continually growing. We're continually evolving. There's going to be new things all the time. And there's going to be more and more layers of our awareness that keep coming in. There's going to be things that we're going to remove. There's so many possibilities when you're in this world. But my final message on all of it, there is intelligence that we have within ourselves. There is a learned intelligence that we can bring in from learning things. There is an intelligence that comes in from the way that we are genetically formed. There is an intelligence that we have that is bigger and greater than us, coming from places that we may not even be able to describe, from beings, ideas, or thoughts that make no sense to the everyday 3D human, but that is our intelligence as well, and we have access to that. Artificial intelligence is just an extension of our human intelligence that will evolve exactly as it needs to. So us as humans, if we just focus on the things that we love, that bring us joy, that allow us to experience our lives as creators, tap into the intelligence that we hold as our own intelligence, allow the intelligence of outside sources to come into us to help us with our own intelligence, and to utilize the intelligence that we've actually created through our own human intelligence. We're just making steps further and further to the experience, to the desires, and to the world that we really want to create and that we really want to live in. So just try to make sure I have captured everything I wanted to say today. This podcast is probably super long. Okay, there's just a tiny little bit more that I've missed. So last week I spoke about our existence like this, right? 95% of it is dark energy and dark matter. The rest is over here. I see the light grid and the dark grid. Part of the light grid are grids. The way that artificial intelligence, and it's really weird because all the grids are a collection of beliefs that we're all holding on to, that collective beliefs that we are holding to be true. If you imagine them as a grid with lines going that way, lines going that way, the way that artificial intelligence comes through them, and it's really quite odd. I've never seen this. It comes through that way, like lightning bolts. It's not the same form as the grids of everything else, which to me thinks there's a bigger concept and a bigger understanding of it on the edges of it. So if you can imagine these light grids, but they're open and they extend out into this unknown area, this untapped area. So when I speak about the light grid, the dark grid, the luminescence is the bits that float to the top from all of it and venture out into the unknown. So where I see the light grid and the grids, they're open, they're not solid. There are some ideas and thoughts, etc., that are solid light grids that sit in there like, that's it, that's all I am. But most things are open because they're open to other things, other ideas, other possibilities. But the way I see AI, and I'm using my hand. If you're listening, I apologize. Using my hand to show you. It's that lightning that's coming through the grids, which is really interesting. If I get more information on that, I will share that with you. But I think that is all for now. I hope that this is opened your mind a little bit just to the concept of it and the way that we look at it. and the way that we hold our beliefs, because that's the key to everything. It's really sort of tapping into the truth of who we are and what we want to believe in. And if science has taught me anything, it has really taught me that possibilities are endless and no one knows anything, really. We just really have to sit in the allowance of the possibilities of so much, in just that wonder and curiosity. But that's it for this podcast today. Who knows what's coming next week? If you're interested in anything that I'm doing, okay, I'm just going to quickly mention what's happening in the sales area. Feel free to shut off now. Still doing incubator in YouTube, 5 weeks of learning things. We're doing TikTok, YouTube, podcast, AI is next week, and content creation. We've done TikTok and podcasts. They're in there. You can watch them anytime. I'm doing YouTube this week. Next week is all about AI, how we can use it, how it can help us, and a little bit more of what I've been speaking about today, I think. And then the last week is all about social media creation and how to do it when you don't want to follow strategies and you're a spiritual entrepreneur and you want to do things your way, but you can't follow the process that the experts tell you, even though, you know, sure, it probably will work, but it's like, no, I don't want to do it that way. I want to do it my way. So I'll be giving you some of my tips, tricks, fails, things not to do. That's what week 5 is. I also have a 12-week program starting next week called Nebula 12. It's 12 weeks of getting you out there. It's designed to be pretty intense. It's 12 weeks, different topics every week to get you, your offer, your business, your message, whatever it is out there, whether it's a new platform, a new course, a new arm or extension of who you are, getting you out there with the strategies, with the audio, video, graphic, educational aspects. So if you're moving into a new platform, you need to learn how to create this, or if you want to start getting on TikTok, you want to create your own videos, or if you want to create your own course, but you don't know how to make the videos or edit the videos, or you want to jump into your new podcast, it's, well, how do I do it? All of it, I will be helping you with. I will be literally holding your hand as we go through this process, walking side by side, moving you into whatever this next step of you is. Every week you will need to do work. It is not oh, that's such a great idea, I'm going to buy that and not watch it, because I've done that many times with many courses. So I know exactly what that's like. But this is one for people who are ready to go, let's do it. And it's not just all the tools and me helping you as well doing those things. There's also that human emotion, shadow belief element that is actually the key to why we don't get these things out there, to why we start then stop, to why we don't want to do that video or create that post or put that idea out there or say that opinion. I get it. And it all comes back down to who we are as these 3D humans. So we will be working on that, because by the end of the 12 weeks, you will have whatever it is you set out to create. And the first week will be getting clear on what that actually is. By the end of the 12 weeks, that'll be set up, that'll be done. You will have all the tools you need to run with whatever it is that you are putting out there. And you will have the skill set and the emotional tools to be able to work through anything that comes up, as well as a content strategy that is going to work for you to get your information out there. So if you're interested in that, let me know. It's going to be held inside my disruptive frequency membership. So that is blowing right out into a full 12-week course within the membership. You get to stay in there if you join Nebula 12 for the rest of the year. I don't know what's coming on the back end of that, but you will get that, whatever happens, for the rest of the year for free. So if you pay for Nebula, there's a couple of different payment plans that I've set up, and then you get to stay in there. And so it could be the deal of a lifetime. Who knows what's coming in there? I do know what's going to come in there. I have an idea, because Anna's into everything. So if you get in the door, like the people already in there at what was it, $7 a month membership. Now get this whole program for $7 a month. So if you get in there on these different levels, you're going to get all these new things. But this program's amazing and I'm really excited about it. And also from March, I am phasing out some of my other offers because I'm really moving into something else. There will be 2 offers that I will only have available in March. They are called Storyteller and Maven, and more information will be coming out about them soon. So stay tuned if you're still here. Thank you. That is such a long time. And I hope you enjoyed this podcast. And I will be speaking to you next week.